Thank you for visiting the University of Illinois at Chicago's Health and Recovery Solutions Suite. The following recording comes to you from the UIC Center on Integrated Healthcare and Self-Directed Recovery. Visit our online solution suite to obtain free tools that promote health, self-direction, and employment for the behavioral health field.
Hello, my name is Pat Nemec. I'm a consultant working with the UIC Center on Integrated Healthcare and Self-Directed Recovery. Our center offers a solution suite of free tools on health, self-direction, and employment for the behavioral health field. You can visit the solution suite on the website where you found this webinar at www.centerforhealthandsdc.org. That's center, the number 4, healthandsdc.org. In this webinar, I'll discuss how to use one of the health tools found in our solution suite. This tool is called the Wellness Activity Manual and was developed with my colleagues at Collaborative Support Programs of New Jersey, also known as CSP&J. The Wellness Activity Manual was developed in 2015 by Margaret Swarbrick, Christina Serrano, Jennifer Cohn, and Stephen Olker. There are several learning objectives for this webinar. First, you will learn about the purpose and format of the Wellness Activity Manual. Next, I will highlight how the manual has been framed by the 8-dimensional wellness model. I'll give you an overview of the manual and describe some of the content of the individual lessons provided in the manual. This webinar is to give you, as the group facilitator, some information and the how-to mechanics of using the Wellness Activity Manual in your setting. The Wellness Activity Manual offers 11 scripted sessions. Each session includes hands-on activities designed specifically for people with mental health or substance use challenges that may affect their own wellness. Each lesson is scripted for a 1-hour group session with 10 to 15 people. You can create a program using all of the lessons or use only one or two. The lesson content can be adapted to work with someone individually, which would require adapting or adjusting the activities and timing to work independently with someone one-to-one. The people who can benefit from this manual include anyone with a general interest in personal self-care and wellness. The lessons have been used successfully with people who have or are at risk of developing mental health and/or substance use challenges that affect their wellness. We have tested and refined the lessons with people who attend peer support programs funded through a public mental health system. This manual is available for free. All of the lessons and manual materials may be photocopied for use by peer or non-peer not-for-profit agencies providing mental health and/or substance use services. However, when you copy a page, please be sure that the header and footer are visible so that people using these materials know where they came from. This manual was developed for use by trained and experienced group facilitators who have an understanding of health and wellness. No special credentialing is required to offer these lessons. The lessons have also been used for workforce training projects and for coursework and fieldwork practice for students in occupational therapy and psychiatric rehabilitation. For example, at CSP&J, a group of occupational therapy interns were able to use these lessons to offer groups at a community wellness center. The framework for the manual and the 11 lessons in it is the 8-dimensional wellness model that Dr. Swarbrick developed over many years. The 8 dimensions of wellness are emotional, financial, social, spiritual, occupational, physical, intellectual, and environmental. We believe that all of these dimensions are equally important for people's wellness. So you'll find that we often refer to this wellness model throughout the manual and in all of the lessons. Wellness is a conscious, deliberate process that requires a person to become more aware of and make choices for a more satisfying lifestyle. A wellness lifestyle includes a self-defined balance of health habits, such as getting enough sleep and rest, participating in meaningful, productive activity, good nutrition, staying physically active, social contact, and supportive relationships. Wellness is a model and framework that has been embraced by people in peer programs as a positive way to organize their recovery. Wellness is a positive word and provides a hopeful message for people who often have not been supported or treated well by the mental health system. The 11 lessons in the manual fit into 3 broad categories. The first category is eating well. 3 lessons fit under this category, including healthy food choices, healthy snacks, and tips for eating well. The second category is mindfulness. Lessons in this category include one that focuses on mindfulness, one on gratitude journaling, one on relaxation techniques, and a lesson on yoga. The third category is healthy routines. Lessons in this category include one on how to develop wellness habits and routines. A second lesson is about sleep and encourages developing specific routines that will lead to relaxation and promote good quality sleep. Also, in the habits category, participants learn about leisure planning, which focuses on understanding the differences between leisure time and idle time and how planning a meaningful activity can benefit wellness. The final lesson in this category addresses daily habits and routines for intellectual wellness. The lessons address many of the 8 dimensions, and some lessons address more than one dimension. For example, by learning to eat well, participants have found that their emotional and physical wellness improves. The mindfulness lessons in yoga have been described by participants as having positive effects on their emotional, physical, and spiritual dimensions. Each lesson includes 5 elements that are structured into a 60-minute session. The common elements include an overview for how to prepare the lesson, an introduction to that day's wellness lesson, time to engage in the learning activities, a series of discussion questions, and a summary to end the lesson. You will notice that the lesson overview has a topic, goal, and overview for each session. These are shared with the participants. Each lesson also includes learning objectives, so you and any other session facilitators are clear about what participants should have learned by the end of the lesson. Also included are the materials needed for the lesson, which you should review a few days before the class to ensure adequate time to gather everything they need. Each session also includes a series of key points for session delivery, along with roughly how much time should be spent on each part of the lesson. The first part is the 5-minute introduction, which orients participants to the session topic and activities. At this point, you will let people know what they will be doing, why they will be doing it, and for how long. This is very important so they know what to expect and can consider how it will benefit them. The introduction also includes a 10-minute icebreaker that is used as a warm-up for each session. An example of the icebreaker is having participants toss a ball to each other after calling out one thing they're grateful for. After the introduction, the next 25 minutes or so of each lesson are spent on the main activity or task for that session. Specific activities in each lesson are designed to actively engage participants to help them connect with and apply what they're learning. Also, because people tend to learn by doing, we have incorporated activities for hands-on engagement in each session. We recognize that people have different learning styles and may need to hear things more than once to grasp them. So, we've also made sure that each lesson offers more than one activity to keep people engaged in active learning. Finally, you'll notice that the time between sections in each lesson is relatively short, which also helps keep people engaged by varying the learning pace. After the main activity, the next 10 minutes are spent on the discussion questions, which are provided to help you, as the facilitator, process the learning. Processing the learning includes inviting each person to share what she or he experienced during the lesson. This is followed by a discussion of the feelings that came up for participants during the session activities. You or a co-facilitator would then summarize what the participants shared about their experiences and feelings, which helps them see the common threads and how they might personally benefit from what they learned. Finally, and very importantly, your participants think through how they will use what they just learned or experienced in the session in their own lives. Repetition is important for learning, so the last 10 minutes is a time for the facilitators to summarize and repeat the most important points made during the lesson. Key summary points are provided in the Wellness Activity Manual as a guide. In thinking about the best place to offer the wellness activity lessons, we recommend using these lessons in a community setting, since the lessons encourage participants to apply what they learn in their own lives outside of the group. You can hold the lessons in any space that is large enough for 10 to 15 participants. Ideally, participants should have access to a table or countertop space for the writing and hands-on activities. Some of the lessons require specific resources to help participants practice or apply what they're learning. You will need to provide various supplies such as pens, pencils, paper, and supplies for specific activity lessons like journals. For some lessons, you will need a device to play soft music or other audio. For the healthy eating sessions, you will need to supply recipe cards, kitchen utensils, and some grocery items. Before any lesson, worksheets and handouts from the manual should be printed and copied for the participants to use during each session. Next, I will go over some tips for leading the activity groups. We strongly encourage co-facilitation of the wellness activities. We have found that having two facilitators can be a very effective way to conduct the lessons because it allows one facilitator to support participants who need extra help while the other facilitator is presenting. Also, having two different people talking adds interest to keep people engaged. We recommend that facilitators have experience teaching people wellness or recovery information. Experience running groups is helpful, but is not necessary to lead the wellness activities. Group leaders should have strong interpersonal skills, which means the ability to pay attention to the actions or words of others and respond appropriately. In other words, it's important for you to be able to focus on the participants' needs and experiences while teaching, not just on the lesson content. Finally, we recommend that the facilitators have some working knowledge of the wellness dimensions and principles covered in the Wellness Activities Manual. We have found that peer support providers are effective group leaders. Be sure to set aside time to plan the lesson with your co-facilitator. Preparation is very important. You need to review the lesson content carefully before each session to ensure that you understand the flow of the lesson and have the required resources available. When you work with a co-facilitator, advanced planning is needed to coordinate who will do what. If you are going to be a facilitator, try out this specific activity on your own before introducing it to the group. Depending on the topic, it may be helpful to do some research to supplement what is offered in the guide and to become more comfortable with the material. A facilitator performs many roles and tasks before, during, and after the lesson. Before the activity lesson, it is really important to become familiar with the content so that you can make any needed adjustments for the group participants. For example, some people may have dietary restrictions that could affect the lesson where recipes are used. Others may have difficulties with reading or writing and may need extra assistance. The manual also includes a template to develop other lessons in the same format. This allows you and your colleagues to supplement what has been included in the manual based on the specific wellness needs of the people using services at your agency. Make sure the size of the space you are using is adequate. Sometimes this may involve reserving the space ahead of time and checking again on the day before or the day of the lesson to make sure it's still free. Chairs and tables need to be set up in advance in a layout that will support the lesson and meet the needs of all the participants. When reading through the lesson ahead of time, you will review the list of needed materials to make sure you have the needed resources on hand. The materials suggested in each lesson were chosen specifically because they are easy to get and relatively inexpensive. Participants need to be invited and oriented ahead of time. Before each group, let potential group members know what the topic will be, whether they need to bring anything, and what to expect. This also lets you determine whether any accommodations need to be made or any of the lesson plan needs to be adapted. For example, if group members have literacy challenges, you may have to allow extra time to offer assistance in activities that have handouts. Depending on the setting, you may decide to advertise and market the group within your agency or open it to the community. If all of the lessons will be offered in a sequence, you may want to schedule all of the lessons in advance. An alternative is to offer a select few based on what potential participants identify as the most important to them. The fun starts when the lesson begins. When starting a lesson, it is important to avoid rushing through the first 5 minutes of orientation and check-in. It is important to orient participants by clearly stating the topic that will be discussed, the goal or purpose of the activity, and the specific learning objectives. You and your co-facilitator need to do more than just read this part of the lesson. Instead, when you share this information, link it to the participants' needs and interests. Take the time to check in with participants to learn how they feel about the topic and objectives. When you need to, you can reword or rephrase things in terms that the participants understand or connect to. If more than one lesson is offered in a sequence, the introduction time also should include reviewing or following up on the last group. This is a time to connect the wellness dimensions and skills that were discussed and practiced during the previous session and ask participants how they have used the information or skills since the last session. Experienced facilitators know how important it is to encourage and to allow interaction and discussion. Each lesson includes an icebreaker to help the group members become familiar with one another and to begin to take an active role throughout the session. After each part of the lesson, there is time set aside to process what was learned and to identify the personal benefits of the activity. The lesson in the manual provides you with a set of open-ended questions to use during this time to help get feedback. Each lesson also offers suggestions on directing this conversation. Of course, you should adapt the questions for your group and incorporate new ones to keep the group relevant to the participants. You will end each lesson by summarizing and evaluating how well the participants think that the objectives were accomplished. Save time to check in with each and every participant. The lesson ends by summarizing and reflecting the main points identified by the group. Be sure to thank everyone for coming, acknowledging each participant personally for sharing or contributing. Finally, the group wraps up with a reminder of when the next session is scheduled and the next topic that will be covered. After the group session has ended, the facilitator should meet to reflect on what went well and anything that didn't go well. This reflection can include how to adapt the lesson slightly based on how the session went. Take the time to record notes directly in your copy of the manual. Jotting down your thoughts while they are fresh will help you prepare for the next time you offer the lesson. Creating a new lesson outline is always an option. New ideas for lessons often are inspired by participants, so be sure you record any of their ideas for future lessons. Set aside time to follow up with participants and see if they are using the skills learned. Also, check whether they have any questions, need further assistance, or could benefit from additional resources. In these ways, you can use what you learned to prepare for the next activity. The next section of the webinar briefly outlines each of the 11 topics included in the manual. Lesson 1 is on journaling. Journaling is a method of recording thoughts, experiences, and emotions. Journaling can involve reflecting on the steps you are taking towards your life's ambitions, things you're doing to challenge your negative thought patterns, and how you show your appreciation for the small positive things in your life. Expressive writing can benefit your mind by allowing you to work through challenging situations and express inner emotions. Writing also can be an outlet for creativity. This group activity explores the benefits of gratitude journaling, which is different from simply keeping a diary. You will guide participants through the process of journaling. The activity lesson allows time for participants to share what they wrote and discuss how this type of journaling could be beneficial in their daily lives. It is critical to help participants articulate the connection between the activity of gratitude journaling and actually using any new insights and skills that they learn. For example, the group will write down what they are grateful for in all aspects of their lives. The processing that follows helps people explore how this activity can be used as a simple strategy to relieve stress and enhance relaxation. This type of activity can be a great release for many people, and the lesson will elicit varied and personal responses. As you listen to participants, take note of themes from the group to reflect back to them. You also can add examples of benefits as needed. Another activity in the journaling lesson is to ask the group to write about one talent, skill, or quality they appreciate in themselves. Participants write their responses in their journals, which then serves as a springboard for the group's discussion. Journaling is such a practical tool that we are sure this will be a favorite lesson. This lesson has been very popular in past groups and has led to developing other resources such as a manual on journaling, which is offered as part of the UIC Solutions Suite. Lesson 2 is on mindfulness. The topic of mindfulness has become very popular because the strategies are so useful and practical. Mindfulness is a state of active, open attention to the present. When you're mindful, you observe your thoughts and feelings as if from a distance without judging them to be good or bad. Instead of letting your life pass you by, mindfulness means living in the moment and awakening to experiences. During this lesson, participants engage in several mindfulness activities that will help them to identify how mindfulness can be beneficial in our lives. Participants also discuss what mindfulness is and their ideas and plans for when and where to use it. The mindfulness lesson starts with some basic body stretches to relax and energize the group. The lesson includes pictures that show the stretches, but we encourage you to find or create your own. Some facilitators choose to take photos of themselves if that would be helpful for the participants. We encourage facilitators to first try this lesson on their own a few times before leading the group. Some quick research also will show you that there are many mindfulness tools out there. Your practice, experience, and research on the topic will provide you with more information, and you may choose to offer this lesson over 3 to 4 sessions. We have found that extended practice is important to allow the mindfulness skills to develop over time. Lesson 3 is on healthy eating. Diet and nutrition are an important part of physical wellness. Holiday time and social events can create challenges to make healthy food choices. One option is to make and bring nutrition snacks for a holiday gathering or other celebration. This lesson begins by providing an overview of healthy, affordable eating. During the group, participants make a healthy snack that could be brought to a holiday gathering or other social event. During the activity, you will show the group how to make an easy, inexpensive, and healthy snack. This lesson lists the materials and ingredients needed to make energy balls. Of course, a different recipe could be used if anyone has allergies or other dietary restrictions, so you will need to check with each participant beforehand. The purpose of this lesson is to show participants how easy it is to prepare healthy snacks and to encourage them to be proactive when faced with tempting but unhealthy food choices. The group atmosphere also allows for participants to share what they each consider to be healthy snacks and to talk about their challenges and suggestions for making better choices in the future. The food-related lessons are always very popular. Lesson 4 is on leisure time. Leisure is a challenge for so many people. Not having enough time can really affect balance in the 8 dimensions. This lesson helps participants examine the personal benefits of leisure. They learn that leisure time and idle time are not the same. Leisure time includes activities such as hobbies, reading, going to the movies, and playing a sport. Everyone needs to engage in activities that have purpose and meaning and that renew the mind, spirit, and body. While work provides purpose and meaning for many people, leisure activities offer an opportunity to shift focus and action in a way that balances effort spent on work and the chores of daily life. Typically, leisure interests and activities touch on several of the 8 wellness dimensions at the same time. The leisure activities checklist used in the lesson includes items such as leisure helps me to stay well and leisure helps me cope with stress. There are many ways to expand this lesson, just as there are ways to expand the other lessons like journaling and mindfulness. Some of the links provided in the manual offer resources that participants can use on their own or that facilitators can use to create new leisure topic lessons that meet the specific needs of the current and future group members. Lesson 5 is on habits and routines. Habits are key for wellness in all of the 8 dimensions. Habits become ingrained, so a person does them almost automatically. We all have to work consciously to maintain or establish good habits that contribute to our wellness, our valued roles, and our personal goals. Routines are patterns of behavior that provide structure to our day. Like habits, routines are also key to wellness and may be helpful or harmful. In this lesson, participants define their own personal habits and routines and then explore and discuss how they implement habits and routines in their daily lives. Participants explore how to continue to create and sustain health habits and routines that support their personal wellness. During this lesson, the participants break into small groups and complete a habits and routines checklist. This checklist includes items like I brush and floss my teeth each day and I put on sunscreen when going out in the sun. The checklist comes from another guide which could be used as an additional resource. This other guide is called Physical Wellness and it can be obtained from the website for Collaborative Support Programs of New Jersey, which is www.cspnj.org. The Physical Wellness booklet is located in the Resources section of that website. During this activity, participants assess their current habits and routines, share them with the group, and identify ones that may help or hinder their wellness. You and your co-facilitator will circulate around the room, checking in with each small group. You will encourage them to share experiences with each other, identify their strengths, and note any common themes among group members. After the activity, each small group shares what was discussed and learned. You or your co-facilitator will guide this conversation, and, as in the other lessons, you will help summarize what happened in the small groups and identify how new insights can be incorporated into daily life. Lesson 6 is on relaxation. Relaxation techniques are helpful to restore and maintain balance in the 8 wellness dimensions. The next lesson focuses on simple strategies people have found to help them manage stress effectively. The lesson uses some simple relaxation techniques such as breathing, muscle relaxation, and visual imaging that can be used to manage stress and enhance wellness. Participants review and practice each of these techniques and consider which ones they may want to use. For this lesson, there is no icebreaker. You will begin by explaining the 3 different relaxation techniques and then practice each one with the group. Handouts and supplemental materials for each technique are offered in the lesson. After the activities, time is set aside to process and discuss how participants can incorporate these calming techniques into their daily routines. The visual imaging technique is one of 3 techniques covered in the lesson. It involves imagining the details of a peaceful scene, including sights, sounds, and smells. Participants focus on this scene for about 5 minutes while letting go of their stress. Lesson 7 is on sleep. Sleep is an overlooked vital sign. Many people in recovery report that getting their sleep in good order helps them manage symptoms and stress while contributing to wellness in the 8 dimensions. In this lesson, participants examine the relationship between sleep, daily activities, well-being, and personal recovery. The lesson uses a daily routine and structure worksheet focused on sleep. The participants get a chance to identify how sleep and rest can help their personal recovery. They identify the optimal amount of sleep for their personal wellness and discuss strategies they either use now or can try to use to improve their sleep and rest habits. An additional worksheet is included, which is called the Sleep and Rest Worksheet, and helps begin this important discussion. Participants break into small groups, complete the worksheet, and share their responses with small group members. This lesson has been very useful to help people consider habits related to sleep, as well as practical ways they can improve their sleep habits. Many people in past groups have had sleep disturbances or sleep disorders. Even people who have few or no sleep challenges have found this lesson helpful, as it reminds them to continue to do the routines and strategies that have been helping them get a good night's sleep. Some sample tips for improved sleep listed in the handout include avoiding large meals before bedtime, turning off electronics, and using relaxation techniques. We hope that you will consider adapting the lesson by adding more tips to address the specific needs of the people you are working with. Lesson 8 is on healthy snacks. This lesson begins with an icebreaker that asks participants to discuss healthy foods with each other. Talking about food is always a great conversation starter, as most people really love to eat. After the facilitators provide an overview and introduction, the group prepares a healthy snack. As with the other lessons, participants are actively involved. This lesson is similar to the prior lessons on healthy food choices. Here, the focus is on identifying ways to know if a snack is healthy. The example in this lesson is a smoothie, and participants discuss what makes some smoothies healthy and others not. Participants then prepare a healthy smoothie. Depending on any potential dietary restrictions of participants, a different snack or a different smoothie recipe could be used. The manual includes the recipe with a list of ingredients that is copied for the participants. This handout describes the steps needed to prepare the smoothie recipe. For obvious reasons, this is an all-time favorite session. Lesson 9 is on yoga. Yoga is a mind and body practice with historical origins in ancient Indian philosophy. Various styles of yoga typically combine physical postures, breathing techniques, and meditation or relaxation. Many people who practice yoga do so to maintain their health and well-being and to improve their physical fitness, specifically strength and flexibility. Many people, like myself, have found yoga to be an excellent activity that really helps clear the mind and manage the daily stress and hassles in a very calm way. There's a growing body of research showing how yoga can help specific health conditions such as back pain, neck pain, arthritis, and anxiety, as well as improving mental health. In this lesson, participants learn some facts about yoga. They also have the opportunity to practice yoga. Finally, they discuss the benefits of practicing yoga for physical and emotional wellness and explore the effects on other wellness dimensions. Yoga is called a practice because you can always get better with practice, and because it requires an ongoing commitment to be effective, referring to the idea that a practice is a regularly repeated action. During the yoga lesson, you will help participants try 5 different yoga poses. Participants will need to be advised ahead of time to wear appropriate clothing. The room needs to have adequate space for all of the participants to practice. The level of difficulty for each pose may need to be adjusted as indicated in the lesson. The facilitators need to become familiar with the poses and practice them in advance. Tutorials are available online to assist you with learning the poses. Through demonstration and discussion, participants are encouraged to identify which poses they might incorporate into their daily routines. One of the poses, the tree pose, is important for balance. In the tree pose, the person places both palms together in front of his or her chest and, with practice, is able to stand on one foot. The lesson describes ways to adapt the pose based on the abilities and balance of the participants. The tree pose also is a metaphor for balance in the wellness dimensions, which is very important. This pose can really help people make a connection between the mind, body, and spirit in a very simple way. Lesson 10 is another healthy eating lesson. It involves tips for eating well and includes preparation of another healthy snack. Once again, you should remember to check for potential food allergies and adjust what food is made as needed. This lesson is similar to the other healthy eating lessons. Participants can feel good about the food preparation process as it builds their skills and also involves social interaction. We have found that people often share their own recipes for healthy snacks, which is an added benefit of the lesson. Many times, the group has spontaneously planned to prepare the lesson's foods or recipes in a get-together outside of the group session. Helping people learn to plan for or prepare healthy snacks is important because so many people are at risk of and/or are living with serious medical conditions. Many of these conditions could benefit from dietary changes, including eating healthy snacks. Participants who live in structured settings, such as residential healthcare facilities and boarding homes, often have limited control over their food choices, and they report that this is a very empowering lesson. Participants are given a recipe listing the ingredients for a healthy and low-cost dip recipe that can be a snack or an option to take for a social gathering. The ingredients do not cost very much, which is good news for the financial wellness dimension. The dip is easy to prepare and, when done in a group, offers added social benefits gained through preparing and eating the final delicious product. The last lesson in the manual is on intellectual wellness. Intellectual wellness relates to our creativity and our ability to use new ideas and concepts. For many people, intellectual wellness is expressed through hobbies as well as community or cultural activities. We can strengthen our intellectual wellness by regularly using our minds and involving ourselves in activities that use our talents or help us create new talents and gifts. In this lesson, participants have the chance to take a closer look at what activities they already do in their daily routines that they can use to strengthen their intellectual wellness. Through interaction with other group members, participants share interesting ideas about the many different activities they pursue. This also gives them new ideas regarding things they might want to try. The lesson includes a worksheet that allows participants to identify what activities they believe can enhance their intellectual wellness. Each participant completes a self-assessment worksheet. This worksheet includes items such as whether the person keeps up with current events or listens to lectures, plays, or musical performances. After completing the worksheet, participants discuss their ideas and often learn that there are many similarities and differences among group members. As the facilitator, you encourage participants to identify their strengths and to consider any new activities or strategies they might want to try. This lesson is very useful because people often learn that it is the fun and creative hobbies or leisure activities that really help them maintain their intellectual wellness. Other people find pursuing higher education is the way they choose to enhance their intellectual wellness. Many people report that there are many things in their day-to-day routine that they do or can do to enhance their intellectual wellness. We hope you have enjoyed hearing about the Wellness Activity Lessons Manual and that you are interested in giving it a try. If you still have questions after participating in this webinar, you can ask for free technical assistance, which is offered on a time-limited basis through the UIC Center on Integrated Healthcare and Self-Directed Recovery. Call us at 312-355-1696 or click on the free technical assistance button on the Wellness Activity Lessons page of our website to learn more.
Thank you for listening. You can obtain additional Solution Suite recordings or download a transcript by visiting the Center's website.